Faggots, Act Up. Gay men's health crisis, The Normal Heart. All controversial, all confrontational, all groundbreaking. But that's Larry Kramer. He pushes the envelope and pushes us higher and better. That's why I love Larry. That's why I've worked with him all these years. And now at age 67, Larry is continuing to break barriers, continuing to ruffle feathers. In December 2001, Larry became the oldest person living with HIV to have a successful liver transplant. So organ transplantation is his new crusade. And he's gone back to work on his major novel, The American People, that he's worked on for 2 decades. Tonight we hear from Larry himself, Kramer on Kramer, his legacy and his life.
I have a 45-year-old man's liver, and my surgeon, in all seriousness, says you are as old as your liver, so I am now 45 years old.
Not bad for a man who, in summer 2001, was suffering from end-stage liver disease, triggered by hepatitis B. After 7 long months on an organ donor waiting list, Larry got his new liver in December 2001. He knows he's one of the lucky ones.
I cannot tell you how many emails and calls I have had personally since the operation. How do I find a liver? How do I find a hospital? It's going to get worse and worse because as HIV infected and hepatitis B and hepatitis C infected people live longer and longer, there's going to be more of a demand for organ transplants. And we're just perched at this sort of this crucial moment on the seesaw here, and I'm afraid we're going to fall off unless we set up a system of, you know, in your face like we did with Act Up.
We must act up, fight back, fight AIDS.
Act Up. To many, Larry Kramer was Act Up. But long before AIDS, Larry was making waves with his written words.
Morning, Miss Brangwyn.
Morning. Yes, of course, there is that to consider.
His career took off early when he won an Oscar nomination for his screenplay adaptation of D.H. Lawrence's Women in Love. His first gay novel appeared in 1978. Its then shocking title and sharp-edged take on sexual promiscuity caused the gay literati to cringe. But Faggots became a bestseller and has never been out of print, and he soon began work on another book project.
It's called The American People. It's basically a history of America told through its diseases and its discriminations. And it's also a history of homosexuality in America. And I've been working on it since actually before AIDS came. And of course, AIDS usurped what the book was about.
For Larry Kramer, AIDS changed everything. In 1982, he helped start New York's gay men's health crisis. Of course, he then fought with the organization and left it. In 1983, he wrote a scathing call to arms in the New York Native newspaper, blaming the government and gay men for ignoring their responsibility to fight the oncoming plague. And he kept writing. His 1985 play, The Normal Heart, was a clarion call for action and abstinence.
Now it's a history play. People want to know what happened at the beginning to get us into this mess, and that's basically what Normal Heart is all about, the very first days of AIDS, in this country anyway. It's being done all in the rest of the world, in small countries, remote places, places I've never even heard of, where you never see the royalty checks from, but I don't care.
Now, Felix, you understand that your body no longer has any effective mechanism for fighting off anything.
Well, I'm gonna beat this thing, you know?
Good.
No.
That's the right attitude.
No, I mean, I'm gonna beat this. I've always been lucky.
Good.
I guess everyone says that. Well, I'm gonna be the one who beats it. I wanted my job at the Times and I got it. I wanted Ned and my God, have I given it to him?
I don't know.
Can he catch it from me now?
Did
he give it to me?
Act up, fight back, fight AIDS.
Then, in March 1987, came Act Up, the AIDS coalition to unleash power. Its co-founder, chief cheerleader, and rabble-rouser was Larry Kramer.
Why ACT UP was so successful? Because everybody was terrified. Everybody was terrified of dying, which most of them did. And everybody was young and angry with a lot of energy, and that's why we were able to mobilize so many people. That's what ACT UP at its height was all about, fighting to save our own lives.
The temperature's rising, it's getting warm. The party's over, so we went to storm the NIH. It's just war, storm the NIH for the sick, storm the NIH for the poor, storm the NIH, storm the NIH, storm the NIH.
The backlash is not going to happen against the activists now. The backlash is going to happen against the system. People think all you had to do was go out there and scream and yell and you'd get your way and get your drugs. It wasn't that at all. ACT UP had a cadre of experts that we could send inside to the meetings. And once we got our seat at the table, we knew how to use it very well. And you know, we did. Those drugs are out there now because of ACT UP, solely because of ACT UP. And the drugs that are keeping everybody around the world who can afford them alive are there because of us. All illnesses have profited from the anger of ACT UP.
Today, many of those former activists are on the inside, working within the system. To Kramer, that's understandable, but it's not enough.
I don't see any gay activism, and I don't see any AIDS activism. And the organizations that represent us in Washington are pathetic. We have a paltry, maybe 5, 10 people in Washington fighting for us. So while we criticize HRC, and they're eminently criticizable, we can't really condemn them because they're not really getting our support. Until we are strong enough to have enough lobbyists in Congress, as the Jewish people do, as the Catholic Church does, as the automobile industry does, we are not going to have any rights. If every city with a gay population in this country had a fundraiser once a year and raised $200,000 to fund their own lobbyist in Washington, imagine how many lobbyists we would have. We would have a huge network of lobbyists, hundreds of them.
For his part, Larry Kramer can find solace knowing that his words still resonate. His follow-up to The Normal Heart, The Destiny of Me, opened in London in the summer of 2002.
It was just such an unbelievable treat for me to have this play, I don't know what to say, re-recognized. It got wonderful reviews in New York, but it was never done anywhere else in the world, and I've never been able to understand why. Every single actor in it was phenomenal, and in many instances much better than the ones we had here in New York. And the audience was just like this. You could have heard a pin drop the whole time.
And Larry continues to hammer away on The American People, the book he began more than 20 years ago.
I was terrified that I would be dead without finishing it. And now that I have been granted more life, that's number one on the agenda, to finish that book. I started out to be a writer and not an activist. And I want to be taken seriously as a writer. That's the thing I want to be remembered for when I die. That's what this attempt to write this gigantic novel is all about. I want to be remembered as a writer who was an activist, not an activist who was a writer.
The old ACT UP is no longer useful enough. There are not enough of us. Few people go to meetings. Our chapters have evaporated. Our voice has dimmed in its volume and its luster. Our protests are no longer heard. We must be heard. We must be. We should not accept crumbs. We must not accept crumbs.